John Crook called 911, the Levy County Sheriff, for violating me. He trespassed on my property. Well over 70 calls to the Levy County Sheriff's Department by LIEnette and Crook. Now, it should be by nobody's surprise that these two aren't the sharpest knives in the drawer. So, for example, on August 8th, 2023, we can see that Crook actually called dispatch 911. And we can see right down here, it is John Michael Crook against Jeremy Hales. Huh. Interesting. Okay, and what's it for? Verbal disturbance. This is what it says here. Verbal disturbance. Whatever that means, we're about to find out. So, if you recall, Crook actually stalks me to my property, films it, then uploads it publicly on Facebook, and then he and LIEnette completely and totally lie about it, stating that he was on his way to the grocery store with no shoes, which then LIEnette claims that he forgot the credit card. He's got to come back and get it. Hold a second. I thought they had no money? Listen, if it's not the first of the month, which it isn't, we already saw what the date is in August here, there is no money to go to the grocery store to get any food. He went to stalk me just as he stated in his videos. There goes Jeremy Hales. Let's go see what he's up to. His own videos incriminate him. And then what does he do? He calls the Levy County deputies. Okay, so let's take a look at what he says here. Now, we're gonna look right down here. This is Deputy Cobb, which frankly, as we look at this, I'm not too thrilled with Deputy Cobb because he actually, wait. Maybe it's not Cobb. You know what? Let's find out. All right, let's see what it says here. It says, upon contact was made, well, first of all, on 8/8/2023, I was dispatched North Otter Creek Avenue, and it's not Chiefland, Florida, but on the public records, they use Chiefland. They also use Bronson because Otter Creek is too small to be on the map by itself. So it comes up as Chiefland, but it is not. Chiefland's a good 15 minutes away. In reference to a verbal disturbance, upon arrival, contact was made with John Crook, who stated he was traveling on North Otter Creek Avenue when he observed Jeremy Hales committing an infraction. All right, let's just stop right there. What infraction could Jeremy Hales be committing in August, driving on his own property peacefully, and then he's being stalked by Crook? What infraction? Well, I don't think Deputy Cobb knows, and neither does Crook. And John did not articulate what the infraction was. All right. How foolish can you be, number one, to call the cops and then to tell them, okay, well, the problem is Jeremy's committing an infraction, and then to follow it up with, well, I don't know what the infraction is. And then to release the video of him stalking. I mean, this just is so mind-blowing dumb. So we can go ahead and already say, debunked. There was no infraction, ever. John then stopped his vehicle in front of Jeremy's property and began video recording Jeremy Hales. Now, let's debunk that as well, because we've already shown this video where John actually videos himself stalking me to the property. Let's take another look right here.
Toe-to-toe with you any day. Well, I'm heading over to the Jeremy's house. I think I just seen the mayor's husband taking stuff to Jeremy. Yes, there he goes. Yep. We'll wait for him to come off the property. Come by my car. Here. This is showing. They work for him. Yep. They work for him. All being filmed. Ah, your wife sucks on the head. Come on to my property. Puss. Come on to my property. Ah, ha, ha. Who's the puss now, huh?
Can we just say it? Debunked. Debunking. It makes me feel so good. Oh, I love debunking. All right, so then it says John and Jeremy then engaged in a verbal argument, which was recorded by John and shown to me on scene. Crook recording to his own demise, incriminating himself. Now, at this point in August, Crook has already stated publicly online that his photos of his junk, his tiny little pipe in Georgia's mouth. He has stated that her entire family are terrorists. He has stated such grotesque things. He's pulled out a firearm on me. He's threatened me, the ones I love, my employees, my family members, which truly are two and the same in all reality. And then to top it off with stalking me. And then in this altercation, he actually threatens me. He says, touch my truck, see what goes bang. Now, I've had enough. He's talked about shoving things up my rear end. He's talked about having Georgia's rear end cut out from rectal cancer. I've had enough. This man says he will go with me toe to toe. In other words, he threatened me. That's fighting words. And then when I take him up on his challenge, like a coward that he is, he goes, see what goes bang bang. Okay. So here we go. Shows me on the scene. The video showed that both and John and Jeremy issuing vague challenges to each other, but no specific verbal threats were made. Well, we can debunk that as well, because there was a verbal threat made. He said he was going to bang bang me, and the Ohio courts took that very serious, and that's why there's a civil protection order on him, out of many, many other reasons. Okay, the video observed then showed Jeremy walking away from John's vehicle, which his tires are on my property. He's trespassing on my property. All right. And returning to his property. I would never left my property. I actually, I will state that I went publicly in the road to the driver's side door because Crook had already challenged me. He said, let's go toe to toe. And so I took him up on his challenge and his offer, and he's a coward. And so then it goes on while John drives away towards his residence. Due to viewing the detailed video on scene and observing no assault or battery occurring, no contact was made with Jeremy Hales, nor did he summon law enforcement. So that's very true. I did not call law enforcement in regards to that. I took all of that information and I sent it up to Ohio. I took it straight to the courts. Because at this point, we already know Levy County Sheriff is doing very little. And so he obviously was trespassing, he obviously was invoking, and he was obviously enticing, and he was attempting to create something. And he's done that very well, to the point where he's now in jail, where he should be. All right. And then it says, due to the ongoing dispute between John and Jeremy, John was advised to attempt to avoid future confrontation by not driving past Jeremy's property if other routes exist for traveling. Now, this is where we have seen in court where LIEnette says, Jeremy can go anyway, he can go any other way. And LIEnette goes, I don't even drive by his property. Well, that's not exactly true, because we have on camera LIEnette driving by our property. Constantly, even after court, when she tells Judge Craig DeThomas that she will never, ever drive towards or past this property. What she means is one of the driveways. There are 3 others she drives, 2 others that she constantly drives past. And when she goes by the other way, there are 2. And our main drive that we use to get to the home, it's the only drive that actually gives access to the home on the 70 acres. She drives by that as well. She's a pathological habitual liar. Completely. We have it all on camera. And so, why did John even go that way? This incident was documented for informational purposes due to the ongoing dispute between John and Jeremy. I request this case to be closed upon completion to this report. So immediately Cobb goes, hey, there's nothing here. Which what Cobb should have done is gone, oh, Crook just threatened him with a firearm. So is Cobb incompetent? Is Cobb unaware of the law? Is Cobb just sick and tired of Crook and LIEnette? All 3 of those could be potentially true. We probably will never know, but something's not right, that's for sure. Okay, and so here we have on the same date, 8/8/2023, LIEnette is actually calling 911 now. So we had Crook calling 911, now we have LIEnette. And she says, it's complainant. So whenever we see this in the public documents, complainant, advised subject, Jeremy Hales. So advised, this is the actual dispatcher. And so saying there's a verbal disturbance, the dispatcher. So complainant LIEnette says Jeremy Hale, which again, it's not even me. I don't get it. They spell Hales H-A-L-E. They spell H-A-I-L. They spell H-A-I-L-S. They cannot get who I really am. That's great. I really don't want to be identified and known in Otter Creek. Now, the time has passed for that, but that's what we went for, to hide, and then we were stalked. So it goes on to say that the complainant said Jeremy Hales ran towards her husband, making threats to fight. Now, hold a second. Hold up. Wait a minute. Put a little husband in it. Why does LIEnette tell this dispatcher that John Crook is her husband, and yet other times when Levy County deputies are out there, she emphasizes, I wanted to make it known very clear, he's my ex-husband. We've also seen boyfriend, husband, boyfriend, ex-husband. All right, so Jeremy Hales run towards her husband. No, Jeremy Hales is on his property, and he's being stalked on his property by her husband? I don't even know if anybody truly even knows anymore. All right, then she goes on to say, but Jeremy's no longer there. And no known whereabouts where Jeremy is, and says that I'm wearing a blue shirt. Literally describes me wearing a blue shirt. Says I'm wearing a blue shirt. Her husband, yet again, drove by and recorded the altercation. Now, let's make sure we have something very clear. Her husband didn't drive by. Her husband drove to, parked, waited, created the altercation. Stalking and trespassing. Why don't we see any of that in here? Now, I understand this is the dispatcher taking LIEnette's word and putting it down in type, but we didn't even see that in the narrative by Cobb, right? That's interesting. And then let's see, and then they send Cobb out. All right, so Cobb goes out. Let's see what else happens here in this incident here. So this is 8/11. No. This is a couple days later. All right. So 8/11. John Crook. John Crook is the caller, and we've got another dispatch here. And let me see what we got. This is a couple days later. We got some things here. It says John Crook and LIEnette Preston have been harassing her. Complainant advises that John Crook and LIEnette Preston have been harassing her. Hold a second, what is going on? I'm not even sure I understand this one. They took a picture of her grandson offline, sent it to her, accusing her of beating her grandson. Advised the harassment has been ongoing for months, but the post regarding her grandson was on 8/6. Grandson is 3 years old. Grandson's in Oregon with son and grandmother. LIEnette Preston and John Crook are harassing her through Facebook and Messenger. And they request a phone call. Spoke to the complaint. She advised someone was harassing her on Facebook. I advised her to make her Facebook private and block the people. She told me she would take care of it, and then she thanked me for my time. Hung up the phone. No further incident occurred. Okay. So this is who took care of it. Wilbur. All right. Now, this is definitely not correct. John Crook did not call. This is somebody else stating that John Crook and LIEnette have been harassing them through Facebook, through Messenger. So this is complete. This is how incompetent Levy County is. Can't even get the right name of the person. They put Crook down here, but the complainant is telling them that Crook and LIEnette have been harassing them through Facebook. They're in Oregon. Grandson is 3 years old. Grandson is in Oregon with son and grandmother. LIEnette and Crook are harassing her through Facebook and Messenger. Okay, do we see a pattern here? Their entire life is harassment. If they don't get what they want, they try to destroy somebody's life. They wanted money, they wanted fame, they wanted promotion. They got the fame. And frankly, there's enough foolish people out there giving them money too. They've never had this much money in their entire life, and you're going to see exactly what she has been doing with that money. And I promise you, the individuals that gave it to her are not going to be happy. As a matter of fact, she calls Levy County Sheriff and complains about it because the money she stole from those people with false narratives, with false allegations, in my opinion, she's stolen money, in my opinion. And she then goes on to report that somebody stole it from her. But we're going to see that in a minute. All right. What else happens here? Well, on 8/13, LIEnette Preston now calls. If we can actually take that as truth here. Let's see what happens here. Same day. Complainant advised Jeremy Hales made a video about her. Oh, yeah, here we go. Complainant Jeremy Hale. Again, Haile. Man, I'm not Braille. I'm not Jeremy Braille. It's Jeremy Hales. Well, there's an S. The $ is a joke, but there's a real S there, okay? So LIEnette calls, says Jeremy Hales made a video about complainant shooting at a car. I never called and reported this. My neighbor reported it to us. So you're all familiar with previous council member Gail, and I think she has no problem with me sharing this. I witnessed this, them shooting at a vehicle that looked exactly like George's vehicle. Scary? You better believe it. Completely and totally unhinged? Absolutely. And did we put it in video for accountability? Absolutely. And we're going to continue to put all of these things in video for accountability. Is it hurting our business? You be the judge. Okay, so LIEnette wants to speak to a deputy about this and wants to know if there were charges being made against Crook. So LIEnette is calling and saying, are there charges being made against Crook for this? Every time, you're going to see this again and again in these. Every time we talk about what they've done, they will literally call Levy County Sheriff and go, are we being arrested? Are we being arrested today? So Wilbur spoke to the LIEnette. She wanted to know if there was any report taken or if she or John Crook were in trouble in reference to a YouTube video Jeremy Hales posted with allegations against her. I did research and advise her that there was nothing current that I could not find in regards to the event she was referring to. She was pleased with our phone call, thanked me for my time, and hung up the phone. No further incident. LIEnette constantly will call and say, are we being arrested today? As you're going to continue to see as we work through all of these ridiculous phone calls. All right, here's another one. 9/6, so we're in August now. LIEnette, not Lyshell, LIEnette, not Lyc, not Alexis, it's LIEnette again. Let's see what this one is. Okay, she calls and says Jeremy is posting and saying that she has a crime case. She has a crime case against her. Do you understand that? Jeremy, at least they didn't even put my last name in as that time, is posting and saying that she has a crim case against her. She will be going to jail. Okay, all right, here we go. Another one, she'll be going to jail. Caller has requested reference to this, make a phone call, and then Quincy calls Made contact by phone to her at the office. All right, let's see what else is going on here. This is constantly. Am I going to jail? Am I going to jail? Well, eventually, Crook is in jail. Eventually, LIEnette, I believe, will end up there as well. There's no doubt. She's doing her best. She is absolutely doing her best to make sure she lands up there. Constantly disregarding the law and breaking it. So this one, LIEnette, again. Oh, wait, no, it's Lyshell. Look at that, Lyshell. Same month, August 24th, Lyshell. And she has a question in reference to taking out the neighbor's dogs. Whoa. Christian, I have to ask you a question, okay? Christian, taking out the neighbor's dogs, what does that mean to you?
Letting them out to go to the bathroom.
All right, dig a little bit deeper. Taking them out, what do you think that means to you?
Making them none alive.
Yes, very much so. All right. LIEnette, the animal whisperer of Otter Creek, the sanctuary of all sanctuaries, where all animals are in love with LIEnette, and LIEnette is in love with the animals, is literally calling the sheriff and saying, can I kill the neighbor's dogs? How do people feel about that? LIEnette is calling and saying, I want to kill my neighbor's dogs. What can I do? And the officer, Wilbur, says, I advised her to try and talk it out with the dog owners. We can see right here. I advised her to try and talk it out with the dog owners and fix the problem. And if the problem continued, to call animal control and advise them of the issue. She thanked me for my time and hung up. Now, let's be extremely clear. Levy County Dog or Levy County Animal Control will not come out to Otter Creek. It's the same problem. She's living illegally on the property. He was living illegally on the property. Illegally meaning they have no home to live in. Living in a shed in Florida. The entire state of Florida is illegal. Living in the camper is illegal. What they're doing with gray water is illegal. And I could go on and on and on. They can't even legally have this reptile rescue within the city limits, which it's not a city, it's a town, it's the town limits. There have to be so much space between them and any other residents, and it's all illegal. And what does Levy County continue to say? We're not doing anything because you're incorporated, therefore you need to take care of it yourself. So how in the world does Otter Creek get rid of them? If Otter Creek was seeking to get rid of them, the legal way. They unincorporate, county comes in, removes them from the property. Oh wait, hold a second. I don't think Otter Creek has to do that. Because Otter Creek is corporated or incorporated. Therefore, Otter Creek could actually stand up to this and do it themselves, which is what should be done to take care of the issues of the illegal issues, illegally living issues. Now, if it was legal, and if it was responsible, and if it was appropriate, I'd have no problem with that. It's not legal. It's not responsible. It's not appropriate. These individuals have continued to threaten the lives of all of Otter Creek residents, whether that be with pew-pews, not just with me, not just an 8-year-old, you saw with another individual as well. Not only with the insane rug users that continue to revolve in and out on that property, most importantly, putting that little child in danger, but the filth, the rotten food, which brings in more things that aren't wanted, vermin, dangerous animals, and that puts the residents and the neighbors all in danger as well. And so, what does LIEnette want to do? This one who loves so many animals, she wants to kill the neighbor's dogs. That's what she wants to do. That was her phone call. Can I unalive my neighbor's dogs? All right, keeps going on. We're at August 27th. Holy cow, I called? Huh, look at that. I called August 27th. Civil protection order. And LIEnette, so I called and saying that LIEnette has possession of a firearm. I have a civil protection order. Now keep in mind, I have a civil protection order on her at this time. I have it. It's in my possession. Levy County has it as well. And I called them, and for protection of me and for others, I want them to remove the firearm. Apparently, I needed to call for the protection of the neighbor's dogs as well. Just days earlier, when she's calling and saying she wants to use it to unalive them. At this point, I didn't even know about that. So I call and I say, I want them to remove it from LIEnette Preston. John Crook, we could have, here are the civil cases right here. Here's civil case with John Crook. Here's the civil case with Preston. Once this means firearm removed from LIEnette and Crook for safety of his employees, and that would be Flippin' Adventures, that would be George, that would be anybody else. Brian was working at that time. There are other people who would come in and work as well. And so made a phone call. Wilbur advised caller that once we have the civil paperwork in hand, that we could serve paperwork and follow the instructions given. So I do have this phone call recorded because it was in Ohio, based out of Ohio, and therefore I can record any public servant such as the police, and I was based in Ohio as well, and recorded all this. We've never released it, but basically in a nutshell, front page of our civil protection order says no firearms. Now, the judge in Ohio has not specifically put instructions for the law enforcement to remove them like Judge Grudge did for me, okay? And so mine's a temporary, hers is a permanent. And so we called and we said, hey, we're concerned about safety and we want to ensure that they're going to be removed. They have yet to ever been removed, except they now have in possession Crook's revolver that LIEnette lied about and hid with Crook after he pointed it at an 8-year-old. Let's jump into October, okay? We were just in August. Let's get into October. So what we have here is October 8th. We can see it's LIEnette, okay, handled by officer. Priority is low. Assist the citizen, and we're in Otter Creek again. All right, let me take a look at what it says here. All right, so LIEnette is calling. This is ridiculous. LIEnette is calling with questions in reference to injunctions because she now has an injunction on her, and so does Crook. Who is so foolish to call the Levy County Sheriff Office in regards to your injunctions you have on you? The injunctions literally outline everything. They cannot be within 500 feet of myself or George. No matter what, there are no acceptations. There is none whatsoever. She was even in the parking lot. He was even in the parking lot at the sheriff's office. They were found guilty for breach and violation of the civil protection orders. There are no acceptations for her. I'm so worked up right now, I can't even say the word right. Exceptions, okay? That's how worked up I am. Christian's like, all right, you'll get it, Jeremy. You'll get it. Look at him. He's like, all right.
I heard it every time.
Yeah, he's like, I got you. All right, so she's calling in regards to, sometimes we actually say words purposefully just to be funny. Wrong. Actually, 99% of the time. That time I was just so worked up. This is the 1% that it was just coming out wrong. Tenant, so this is tenant advised that she, okay. So this is in regards to LIEnette says, advised she doesn't know if Mr. Hale, no, this is tenant is the dispatcher. Tenant advised she doesn't know if Mr. Hale is in, hold a second. I'm not even understanding this. Tenant advised that she doesn't know if Mr. Hale, why does Florida leave an S off of everything? Oh my goodness, this isn't even me. Can any of this be legal if it's not really me? All right, tenant advised she doesn't know if Mr. Hale is in Florida or Ohio. Something, you two, Mr. Hale, da-da-da-da-da. Gregory made contact with a lady at the old Lark building off of State Route 24 who identified herself as Deanna. Deanna advised Jeremy is not in Florida right now, but is supposed to be here soon. I advised Deanna if she speaks with Jeremy to please let him know that we have paperwork to serve him, and this paperwork has a court date set for 10/11. I'm looking upside down. 23. Deanna advised that she talks to him. If she talks to him, she will let him know, and we'll let him to contact Levy County Sheriff Office so that we can serve the paperwork. Okay. LIEnette is calling Levy County Sheriff to try and get me served paperwork while I'm in Ohio. I get it now. Okay. I'm in Ohio. LIEnette, after she gets a civil protection order against her, she runs to Florida with Craig DeThomasis, which we've shown all of these pre-court hearings, illegal ex parte pre-court hearings. Judge DeThomasis should never, ever, ever, ever be on a bench. It's ridiculous. And the sooner he's removed, the better. And so LIEnette is now calling them saying, Jeremy Hales is here in Florida. And I'm not in Florida. And they go and they start to interrogate Deanna. What's Deanna have to do with Jeremy Hales? She's an independent contractor. She does what she wants when she wants. And it's not her responsibility to make sure I'm served. It's their responsibility to make sure I'm served. But Craig DeThomasis says he could get any paperwork anywhere in the planet except Ohio. Now, last I checked, the Bermuda Triangle has actually been pretty low-key lately. The Bermuda Triangle isn't in Ohio. It's definitely not in this village. But apparently all legal paperwork in this village just disappears. Or maybe Levy County is the Bermuda Triangle, where everything crazy is going on all the time. Call her name again. LIEnette Preston, 10/13/2023. Suspicious vehicle. All right, what's the narrative? Dark motorcycle with 2 occupants on them spotted, got off, and that's it. Just wants additional patrol. And patrol was sent out. Okay, all right, this, I remember this. All right. LIEnette posted all over about this on Facebook as well, okay? So there's somebody on a motorcycle on North Otter Creek Avenue. LIEnette is calling, saying, 2 people were just on a motorcycle. We need extra patrol. She posted this all over her ridiculous Facebook pages, which then Gail, my neighbor, and LIEnette's neighbor across the street posted, stop the drama. They live here. They were dropping somebody off. Everybody has a right to access the public property and anybody who lives on that property if they're invited on that property. LIEnette. Going completely and totally turtle crap crazy. Why would LIEnette call about motorcycles going up and down the road, which they went once, dropped a person off at a house that they live in, and yet she didn't call about Crook stalking me, going up and down the road and parking on my property, and then Crook threatening to make something go bang bang? A little interesting. Okay, what else do we have here? All right, we got the report. This is information report, incident report, 1029. Reporting person, LIEnette Preston. LIEnette, Lyshell, Lysy, Lysa. Man, it goes on and on and on. Okay, let's see what this one says. Okay. This one says on 1029, at 10:25 hours, I contacted LIEnette Preston. This is Deputy Sheriff D. That's all I got, D. I contacted LIEnette Preston by phone. She requested. Miss Preston stated Jeremy Hales has been making disparaging remarks. Look at this. Jeremy Hales has been making disparaging remarks about her on social media. Pause. Why didn't LIEnette call about herself? As she's literally defamed me and so many others in the community of Otter Creek. And yet she's calling if I say something that's true. I only speak the truth about her. There is no lies. And everything I say is protected by the First Amendment because it isn't a lie. And there is no fight. There is no inappropriateness in my speech. She's a horrific, horrible person who has destroyed so many people's lives, and she's gotten away with it up till now. No longer. Miss Preston expressed to me that she felt threatened due to Mr. Hale saying that he was going to have DCF take her daughter from her. She stated there were no threats of violence made towards her. Whoa, hold a second. Hold up, wait a minute. Let's put a little debunking in it. LIEnette running to the courthouse stating that I'm threatening her on a constant basis, and yet here during this is the exact same time period. She's standing before Judge Craig DeThomasis with fake crying and tears, stating that I'm threatening her on a daily basis. And then here in the police report, She stated there was no threats of violence made towards her at all. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what else. Miss Preston advised me that she had a court date with Mr. Hales on 10/3/23, but was what does that say? Unclear on what exactly the matter was on. Oh my goodness. Okay, can we just debunk right now? She's going and running to the courthouse with Craig DeThomasis. We've shown the pre-court hearings illegally, and she's telling the officer she has no idea what this court hearing is about. It's about injunctions, civil protection orders. She knows exactly what it's about. She has broken the law over and over and over again. This is insanity. This is the pathetic, pathological, habitual lying in public documents. Miss Preston talked about being cyberbullied. Air bully. Now, let's just pause there. I don't say anything about anyone until they attack me over and over and over again. And when that straw breaks that camel's back, it's a done deal. I'm going to share everything that's truthful about that individual as they continue to lie about me. She says nothing in here about her cyberbullying me, although she was found guilty and a civil protection order was placed on her. She has nothing to say about Crook doing this to me and George, and yet they've both been found guilty and they both have civil protection orders on them. There has been no evidence whatsoever of any cyberbullying, of any breach of any law on my part, George's part, at all. As a matter of fact, Judge Craig DeThomasis said he threw it all out as evidence which she tried to present. He only placed a temporary injunction on me when she lied about Mark Feather. Interesting. So she goes on to say Jeremy Hales is cyberbullying me, cyberstalking me in reference to Florida Statute 784.048. And after reviewing the Florida state statute and reviewing Mr. Hale's social media videos, it is unclear at this time if there is any violation of this status. I'll be contacting the state attorney on 11/01/2023 to get clarification. And what do you think the state attorney said? First Amendment. Jeremy is protected. He has done nothing wrong or illegal. So on 10/29, LIEnette Preston calls and says that, oh, Jeremy Hales. Again, why can't they get it right? H-A-I-F. Is it all Florida that can't spell? I mean, there's some really great people in Florida, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them can really spell. Obviously not watching What the Hales. Maybe, Christian, I'm thinking for a day, we should change the name to H-A-I-L-S. Because, baby, there's a storm a-coming to Otter Creek. Levy County, the state of Florida, because I'm sick and tired of this garbage. The hailstorm is coming. She goes on to say, reference something that OCC Online, Hales is releasing, right here, still spelled wrong, Hales is releasing content and saying that LIEnette done it. LIEnette done did it. Hales stated that the officers would be coming to her house to take their firearms away. Now, and that's in regards to the civil protection order being granted. And so we did call Levy County Sheriff. They did nothing, unfortunately. So we get the actual civil protection orders. We call Levy County Sheriff, as I've already shared with you previously in this video, and they ignore it all. And what does that end up happening? Can you imagine if they actually did the right thing? They took all the firearms away from John and LIEnette. Crook wouldn't be in jail right now. Now, there's a good possibility he would have found another way to get himself in jail. But if everything would have happened the appropriate right way with law enforcement, he'd be a free man. Because there'd been nothing to point at anybody else. And at this point, he's not. So part of me goes, man, I really, really wish they would have taken all the firearms away. And the other part of me goes, well, maybe he's going to be there even longer now because he belongs there. And I do believe that LIEnette will follow very close behind. Okay, and then basically they do nothing. This is just another phone call of LIEnette complaining to the Levy County Sheriff. let's just jump into November 2023. There's already a civil protection order against LIEnette and Crook. And as we can see here, LIEnette still can't stop calling. And what is she calling about? She says Hales is driving by her house repeatedly, driving her very, very slowly. Okay, so LIEnette uses Facebook to harass and defame individuals. And she used it to say that I'm speeding by at miles per hour up to 65 and 70. And I know her child's a runner, as if I'm responsible for her child. Let me say this, parents, if you are so foolish to expect other people to raise your children for you, they are your responsibility. Now, Christian, you're a new dad, right?
Yeah.
All right. Pepper starts to run. Is it my responsibility to take care of her, or is it yours?
Mine.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we have an agreement on that. Now, I want to be very clear. I would never do anything to harm Pepper, and I would never do anything to harm somebody else's child in Otter Creek either. I would never do anything to harm any adult. And so while the responsibility lies within LIEnette and Crook, while the responsibility of Pepper lies with Christian and Patience, I'm never going to put any of them at risk either. So if LIEnette's so concerned about a car driving so fast, what's my response? And it was George, and it was genius. George said, okay, she's constantly complaining about you driving is so fast. Drive as slow as the vehicle will go. Then she can't complain. So what did I start to do? I started to drive as slow as possible. And what does she do? She calls Levy County Sheriff. This is insanity here. All right. Says Facebook shows. I got to read it this way. I can't read. All right. Says Hales is posting on Facebook shows. It says shoes, but shows him stating that each time he drives by her house and she does not run into her house, that she's in violation of the injunction. Okay, so at this point in time, civil protection order against her. Now, what our lawyer, Eli, told us was that per the civil protection order, if we were driving by, that they would have to remove themselves and go in their home for our safety and protection. Now, that is not what happened, and why he stated that, the judge instead stated that if we were on each other's property, respective property, as long as we were 10 feet, I think it was 10 feet. I think it's 10 feet away from each other, which is, I mean, you're looking at the width of the road. Then she doesn't have to remove herself to go to her property, but most civil protection orders in Ohio would be of that realm. If you see them, you have to remove yourself. Once you don't see them, then you can go back out on your property. This is not what the judge did for this one. So while our lawyer was correct in telling us what's standard and what they usually do, the judge didn't do that for this particular civil protection order. So we had already broadcasted that this is what our lawyer had told us, and it's not what the judge did, so it's not a problem. So she's calling and saying that Jeremy's saying that each time he drives by, she has to run into the house and it's a violation. So Officer Newton goes out, spoke to the complainant, which is LIEnette. She advised Jeremy has been driving by her residence. Okay, take a look at this. She advised Jeremy has been driving by her residence. I've been driving by my residence. My residence, 70 acres, more frontage on North Otter Creek Avenue than any other landowner. My residence. You think I want to drive by her residence? I want her as far away from me and George as possible. I don't ever want to hear her voice again, see her face again, hear anything about her again. I'm driving by my residence because I lived there and then was horrifically stalked there. Okay? She also advised that she is concerned about her safety. I advised her to document the occurrences involving him and to not initiate contact with him. Look at this. Officer tells him not initiate contact with him. And what do LIEnette and Crook continue to do? Initiate contact. All right, let's keep going on. She thanked the law enforcement officer for our assistance. That one's closed, but we are not done with phone calls. On November 3rd now, here we go. All right, we've got Hales. Oh my goodness, Christian, are you seeing this? It's really me this time, Christian. Hales. It's me. This one is about me. This one is really about me. Okay. Hales is posting, and his followers are contacting the complainant, LIEnette, about the fact that she needs a babysitter because she's going to jail. And I truly believe that she will end herself up in jail. Not by anything I've done, not by anything George has done, by her own actions and her own breaking of the law, which is bountiful and plenty. Now, I realize Florida has turned a blind eye to all of this, and it's extremely concerning. But it's LIEnette who actually posted on Facebook that she was looking for a teenage babysitter. This is one of the most concerning things. LIEnette says she can't have this child around anybody because the child's life-threatening condition and she'll die at any moment in time. Yet she put Facebook posts out looking for a teenage girl to come and watch the baby, with also stating publicly in all these pages that Crook is an abuser. What teenage girl should be on that property? And there's one right now. Horrific. Absolutely horrific. Okay. Advise the complainant that this time deputies are unaware of any protection order for her arrest. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep looking. All right, this one is LIEnette as well. LIEnette on the 7th of November. It just keeps getting better. Email being sent. Wants a phone call by the officer. The video tonight, he talks. The video tonight, he talks about the town lynching her. Caller was advised to document the events and present it to the judge when she goes to her injunction. Now, she makes reference in a live stream where I make reference to where she is attacking the Hudson sisters and many other residents of Otter Creek. And what I specifically say is, and it's in reference to what has happened nearby in Rosewood. If you don't know what's happened in Rosewood, it was a horrific time in history that should have never ever happened, when it was just bad. It was completely bad and lives were taken. And LIEnette is starting the same lies. And in Rosewood, it all started with a lie. And LIEnette is stating so many ridiculous, uncalled for lies. And to the point where all the residents are calling me and texting me and saying, she's doing, what do we do? What are we going to do? And I just kept telling them the same thing. Just let me handle it legally. Ignore it. Let me handle it legally. And in this live stream, I said, listen, I understand. I realize they're at a point where they want to lynch her. That's what I said. I never said they're going to. I said they're at a point where they want to. A want and a doing is completely and totally different. And I didn't say it about me. I said about the residents of Otter Creek, who she continued to defame, harass constantly. And then in the same breath, I said, I continued to try and calm them down and tell them, let me handle it legally the right way, which is what we're doing. So she's calling and saying, oh no, Jeremy said this. Oh no. They tell her, all right, just document it. I would love for them to play this in court. As a matter of fact, we've already looked through every single video clip that Lizzie Bailey actually documented for LIEnette. Not LIEnette, she couldn't do it on her own because all she does all day is mess around online instead of actually doing any work. Unless she's going to take a 24-mile trek into Chiefland and back, because she could do that. She's not disabled. She could do that with a child in traffic. So Lizzie Bailey puts all these things together for court. Judge Grudge has thrown them all out already, but we looked at them all, and every single clip incriminates LIEnette, not me. We would love for these all to be played in court. We're hoping every single one. Now, I don't think we'll ever get to that point. I think we'll get a new judge. New judge is going to throw it out immediately and go, this is a joke. But let's keep going on. Then we'll have justice in federal court. All right, check this out. We got incident report 11-8. And information report, and contact person is Jeremy Hales. Complaint is LIEnette Preston. All right, let's see what's going on. Did I call them? Let's find out. Here we go. This is a big one. I'm going to have to read it. On 11/8/2023, at approximately 16:46 hours, I was dispatched to a call for service by phone. This is Deputy Duncan, which Duncan is not okay in my book. And we'll get into more of that once we get to the town hall incident. I made contact with the complainant, LIEnette Preston. So this paperwork is wrong. It says I'm the complainant. It's not. It's LIEnette complaining about me. I made contact with the complainant, LIEnette Preston, who immediately advised that Jeremy Hales is posting her daughter's, you see this right here? Immediately advised that Jeremy Hales is posting her daughter's sealed adoption records online. All right, now let's just pause right there. If it's sealed, nobody can post it. It's sealed. Debunked. Oh yeah, it goes on. It goes on. Watch this. I asked her how she knows this and on what site it's posted. She advised it's posted as a PDF files in a private Facebook group called something 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 by an anonymous member. All right, anonymous member. All right, so let's just do this again. Anonymous member. Wait, she called and said Jeremy Hales is posting sealed records. So number one, she then tells the officer it's an anonymous member. All right, so that's debunked. By the way, I'm not a member of any Facebook groups whatsoever, except I'm not even a member of What the Hales. I have a life. I actually go out and live. I work constantly. I enjoy work. I do not enjoy online. I don't enjoy this in my life. So I don't have time for ridiculousness. All right, so it's an anonymous member. She advised that that Marla subject did not want to disclose. Oh, she advised that the Marla subject. Oh, back up. Marla or Marla Huge. At it again. Marla didn't want to disclose. Oh yeah, except Marla is in public documents. Marla is going to be in federal court. Marla is going to get her big fat old booty sued as well. It's coming. All right, Marla subject did not want to disclose to identify of the friend. Okay, so apparently Marla Hughes sends LIEnette screenshots. I don't know. I'm guessing. She advised that Marla subject did not want to disclose to identify of the friend. I asked the complainant to send me the screenshots of the posted documents. She sent me in PDF files. I advised her I can't prove anything simply with PDF files, and the PDF files themselves appear to be publicly available court records. What? They're not sealed? That the PDF files themselves appeared to be publicly available court records for the county clerk of courts. She disagreed and began talking over me and continued to talk over me, not letting me explain until I advised her that I would disconnect the call if she didn't calm down. Constant with LIEnette calling the Levy County Sheriff. She stated she would have the screenshots sent. I received the screenshots via email where I observed a Katie Timmons. I have no idea who that is, but where a Katie Timmons post about the finding of the adoption info on the Sarasota County Clerk of Court's website. Then appears a link to PDF files to show the group. I again advised Ms. Preston that some documents, i.e. petitions, motions, etc., are public record, such as the documents that appeared to be linked. So LIEnette is complaining to the Levy County Sheriff that public records are public. Well, she's a public individual. She's a public figure. She's run for office. She has attempted to be the clerk of courts. She literally went to a town hall meeting, broke a civil protection order for an hour and a half, claiming that Crook was going to be seated as a council member and she was going to be the new clerk of courts and Belinda was going to be fired. To Duncan! We'll get to that, I promise. Not to mention, she owns, it's probably the wrong word. She says it's her daughter's. Runs? No, that's the wrong word. Well, unless you're talking about running into the ground. A public tortoise and turtle rescue. Publicly begging for any kind of money she can get. So Duncan goes on to say, I was able to gain access to the group. Oh, by the way, any of your Facebook groups, you got Duncan in there, heads up. I was able to gain access to the group using an account for law enforcement purposes. Okay, so now we know Levy County Sheriff has an account on Facebook specifically for law enforcement purposes. Now, who wants to guess what profile it is? Well, this should be fun. Okay, the posts were still present with group members stating that they do not know who this Katie subject is and believing that the documents linked are fake. I then went to the Sarasota County Clerk of Courts website. I found the exact documents listed. Due to the documents being listed as protected, I made contact with Sarasota County Clerk of Courts officer where I spoke with the clerk about the case documents posted. She advised that the case was a guardianship case and it's public record, unlike adoption records that would not even be shown on the website at all. I thanked her for the explanation. This is the exact same in Ohio with domestic violence things such as civil protection orders. You will not find any of that on the dockets. It's all private information. And so all this information, whoever found it, whoever was posted, I don't even know if I have a copy of it. Maybe I have a copy of it. I don't remember. This was a while ago. But it's all public information. Therefore, it can be disseminated anywhere at any point in time, just like court. Just like her image that I own, because I've taken those pictures of her out in public. Therefore, I will use them on any screenshot, and I will give them to anybody else who wants to use them. They can use them as well. Not to mention, she's a public figure out in public with a picture being taken that I own. All right, let's keep going on. I made contact back with the complainant and advised her that the records were public record due to not being adoption records. And what does she say? She advised that she was already aware. Wait, hold a second. She calls and says that Jeremy Hales is posting her sealed adoption records. But then when Duncan calls her back, she says she was already aware they're public records. Which personality are we getting on the phone? She reiterated that it is clear Mr. Hales was the one posting documents, which furthers her allegation that he's inciting people to harass her via YouTube channel. I advise her again that unless he meets statutory elements for solicitation, he cannot be charged as he is protected under the First Amendment. In other words, I've never broken any law. This incident was audio recorded using my in-car audio camera system and is available for more accurate recountal on the LCSO server. Nothing further. Okay. Let's see. LIEnette then calls on 11/8. What does she do? The complainant became angry and ended the call constantly. She hangs up on them nonstop. Completely and totally inappropriate. Doing it all the time. Okay. This one's a good one. John Crook calls. Caller name, John Crook. Okay. Calls and says, I got my name wrong again. Jeremy Hale. John stated that Jeremy has drove by his house 16 times. Let's just pause right there. Jeremy Hales drove by his own property, and I have no idea how many times. 70 acres versus 1.66. 70 acres versus 1.66. Hey, Christian, I'm not good on math. Which one has more property? 70 acres? Okay, I'm just making sure. Do I have a home? You've been on that property. Is there a home there?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other structures? Barn? You don't remember the barn?
Yes, there's a barn.
You remember
the
barn?
Garage.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of a garage.
Yeah, well, chicken coop. Yeah.
Where's the chicken coop? Is it the same
Between
place?
the house and the garage. Yeah, the barn. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I haven't been there in a while.
It's been a while for Christian, but I actually own property. And so if I was driving by, I'm driving by my own property. Not to mention I owned 4 acres around the corner at the schoolhouse. And there are times I have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, this is the funniest thing here. He's claiming I've driven by 16 times. So let's keep seeing what he says. And he needed to get his fencing supplies. Crook needed to get his fencing supplies near the roadway. John stated that he was afraid that Jeremy would try to get him to violate the Ohio injunction or bang him. Okay, so let's pause right there. I can't force anybody to violate an injunction. Those individuals only do it on themselves, and they continually done it intentionally. And I've never, ever, ever threatened anybody with a bang, bang, pew, pew, bang stick, freedom stick. Only Crook has. 3 people that are documented with the Levy County Sheriff. Well, actually 5 if you take Wes, his daughter, and their friend. All right, and so the deputy says, I stood by and I helped John remove the fencing supplies from near the roadway. Jeremy never drove by while I was at the residence. Can we just all say it together? Debunked! So we went from 16 times to Jeremy hasn't come by one single time. Oh, it gets better. LIEnette Preston on the 20th. LIEnette Preston, November 20th. Okay, Jeremy Hales, a new video he posted. A bunch of they will be waiting at City Hall. Oh, says there's a bunch of people with, this means firearms. City Hall for caller. The caller couldn't go to City Hall Tuesday town hall meeting via the laws. Gaffey advised, wanted documented that people are still posting videos about town hall meeting and people purposefully are waiting outside with a bang bang, provided incident number and caller for ongoing issue. Okay, so LIEnette is calling the Levy County Sheriff saying, hey, there are people that actually go to town hall and they have firearms. You know what? I have hired, number one, I carry personal protection when legal. I hire private security who have the same type of protection. And anybody who went to town hall legally could have been carrying outside of town hall. And LIEnette's calling and complaining. This is the woman who literally posts, she will pop a cap in anybody's backside, as Crook is talking about shoving stuff in backsides. As Crook is actually pointing it at people. All right, one more just for fun. Because it says her husband. You gotta love it, her husband. All right, what does this one say? This is November 30th. And it says, she pulled out to go into court. She stepped out on the sidewalk. Jeremy Hales went in by them, no problem. She then turned around, drove back, and started videoing. YouTube screaming, 10 feet, you're violating the Ohio order. And then he drives away. LIEnette wanted a 1025 from the Undersheriff Beecham. So let's be very clear. LIEnette's at court. I'm at court. George is at court. Crook is breaking the civil protection order, and I can film anything as anybody else can. It's public filming. So she's complaining that I filmed her, and she's stating that I said 10 feet, which I did not, or we would have used this as actual evidence against her in Ohio court. So it goes on to say Dowling is actually called out. LIEnette stated that she was at the courthouse in Bronson yesterday and was on the sidewalk. LIEnette stated that Jeremy drove by the same direction as she was walking. LIEnette stated that Jeremy then turned around, drove back to her vehicle with the window down and the camera in his hand. LIEnette stated Jeremy began yelling at her, 10 feet! LIEnette stated, this is not the incident on North Otter Creek. She's saying this happened in front of the courthouse, which Crook no less than 3 times broke the civil protection order, which then we had to have the sheriff remove him. All right, and let's keep going. And stated that Jeremy then drove away and parked. LIEnette stated that Jeremy is alleging that she and her husband, funny that in this narrative she calls Crook her husband, and any other she says, I want everybody to know he's not my husband. Placed signs all over Otter Creek stating, Jeremy, go home. This is what she told them, that it said, Jeremy, go home. Interesting that she didn't tell them what it actually says, that I rapist her daughter. LIEnette stated that Jeremy is saying that she violated the handwriting on the signs and that it's LIEnette's handwriting. LIEnette stated that she's trying to avoid Jeremy and has ever been putting up a fence around her property to keep away Jeremy. Oh, a makeshift fence around a makeshift home with a makeshift toilet and now makeshift lawyers? Okay. So she can take a big old deuce in the bucket. She's got a deuce, all right. All right, let's keep going. Dowling then writes, LIEnette stated that she just wanted to report this because Jeremy's trying to have her arrested for contempt of an injunction that was granted out of Ohio. LIEnette stated that she just wants Jeremy to leave her and her family alone. She has no desire to be in contact with Jeremy. Look at this. This is ridiculous. That she just wants Jeremy to leave her and her family alone. She has no desire to be in contact with Jeremy. Except she continues to break the civil protection orders and makes contact and keeps coming within 500 feet of myself and George as we stay away and do the legal right thing.